Fast, fluid, and usually fun, Neverwinter stands as proof that Dungeons & Dragons-based massively multiplayer RPGs can find a home on consoles. It may place a much heavier emphasis on instances rather than an open world, but it does a fine job of whisking us away to locales as different as crowded cities and snowy mountains, and giving us plenty of enemies to fight along the way. Though its frame rate isn't the smoothest, Neverwinter manages to emerge as one of the finest free-to-play MMORPGs on consoles to date. The main quest path drives you down narrow, predetermined paths, to the point where zones feel more like long hallways than legitimate regions, but they usually look good. These vistas occasionally reach a degree of awe-inspiring magnificence as you stab and fry things along the way. Neverwinter never let me forget about its relentless focus on action, and that meant I was largely okay with the story being a forgettable and ignorable affair. A limited number of active abilities means that each is intuitively mapped to a game controller. That makes fights faster and more fun than the unwieldy setups required by ability-heavy console MMOs like Final Fantasy XIV or Realm Reborn. Regardless of which of the 7 classes you play as, targeting is usually spot on, and that design allows Neverwinter to come closer to the ideal of feeling like God of War or Darksiders more than any console MMO before it. I wasn't okay with the frame rate though. Especially in higher leveled zones filled with greater detail and environmental effects, it gets pretty chunky. I can only blame one death on it, but it's still a big problem. Neverwinter's all about combat, but there are plenty of ways to do it. As a great weapon fighter, I could buzzsaw my way through enemies. On my Hunter Ranger, I could effortlessly switch between melee and ranged as needed. This game is also packed with numerous fun dungeons, skirmishes, and PvP arenas, allowing you to jump between content as you choose and thus maintain the variety needed to keep me playing. Unfortunately, the Xbox One version of Neverwinter hasn't solved one of the major issues that prevent MMOs from being as much fun on console as they are on PC: social interaction. I leveled up almost to the level cap of 60 without ever seeing a single word said by other players in the general or looking for group chat channels, which conveyed the feeling that I was playing a mediocre single-player game. I wish more people would hook up a Bluetooth keyboard or use the Smart Glass mobile app to type, because without them, even letting random players I grouped with know that I was heading out was a frustratingly complicated chore. I did have loads of fun when I grouped with a friend and spoke through voice chat. That works well enough. There were a few other annoying complications, such as when Neverwinter refused to let me easily switch to a friend-specific instance. Instead, we had to figure out which instance we were in and select it manually. As you'd expect from a free-to-play game, Neverwinter relies on microtransactions, but this is one of the good models. Its unobtrusive cash shop lets you play to level cap and beyond without ever requiring payment for anything other than small conveniences. Unfortunately, it makes up for that impressive degree of freedom by pricing most buyable items somewhere between $10 and $20, which seems a bit extreme. Even so, in most regards, these elements come together to help establish Neverwinter as at least as good as it is on PC. I really miss the player-made content and its endless variety you find on that platform, but there's more than enough here to make this adventure feel worthy of embarking upon. Neverwinter's gamepad-friendly combat and intuitive interface make it the best fantasy MMORPG I've played on a console yet. Even with its frame rate issues and the persistent feeling of loneliness in a crowd, it's well suited for drop-in, drop-out gameplay, and its friendly free-to-play design makes it easy to come back to after a long absence. For more on Neverwinter, stick with IGN.